Hey there, this is Jared Giannatasio with PayPros, and this is another edition of the main HR compliance series. Last week I was in California on vacation, so that was kind of a short video, but I'm back and raring to go. The thing that I wanted to talk about today was workforce analytics and artificial intelligence in HR systems. And I'm starting to read some things that are kind of going against the trend of of putting a lot of faith in these different technologies. And it's to say that maybe our confidence in them is a little too high, or our expectations of them may be a little too high. And it's funny, I thought of this while watching an old movie called The Thomas Crown Affair. And it's not the one with Pierce Brosnan. It's the original one from the late 60s. A guy by the name of Steve McQueen plays the lead. Faye Dunaway is the female lead. And it's funny because being made in the 60s, it looks really dated. And one of the things that makes it look dated is that the investigator puts a lot of data into what we would consider today to be a mainframe, one of those old IBM mainframes. Of course, to a late 60s movie audience, I'm sure it looked really high tech. And so he puts all this data in there and he's able to see all these different trends and it helps him to solve the mystery. But it's interesting that 20 years later, the remake with Pierce Brosnan has none of that in that movie because we really don't put that kind of faith in basic computer processing. And maybe people decades from now or years from now will look back on our era, the dawn of a lot of these artificial intelligence systems and workforce analytics, and may think that we're putting too much faith in those things. So I just had three thoughts on this. First of all, human behavior is not easy to predict. Um, it's funny how yesterday Tom Brady and the New England Patriots won the Super Bowl, and it's interesting to note that Tom Brady was not a first round draft choice like most great quarterbacks. He was a sixth round draft choice, which, for those of you that aren't pro sports fans, he was chosen as really an afterthought. Um, he might they thought he might be a decent backup, but that was essentially it. Those are really your expectations when you have a sixth round draft choice. So not only did all other teams who had a chance to draft Tom Brady way back, not only did they not know what was in store for Tom Brady, the New England Patriots didn't even know. They can't even take credit for being able to predict Tom Brady's success. And believe me, the scouting departments that scout the young, talented players in college that they want to bring on to their football team, they have a lot more data than those of us in HR will ever dream about having for people in our organizations. And they still can't get it right because there's still busts in the first round, and there's still Tom Brady's that get picked as afterthoughts. The second one is to what extent managers, employees, and HR professionals behave in a rational way. All humans are prone to cognitive biases, which influence the way they interpret the outcomes of workforce analytic projects. Anyways, an article that really explains all that was written by Morton Camp Anderson, and there's a link to it in the comments below. So he has some great insights into that particular part of this. And the third element is that artificial intelligence developments are coming along fast, and there are a lot of tasks that AI has great difficulty with. Um, it reminds me of a lesson that I learned in college where the professor asked us what was George Washington's phone number. And of course, everyone in the class laughed. And he said, you know that that's a ridiculous question because you made a lot of connections very, very quickly, something that a computer would have great difficulty doing. You would have, the computer would search all of the phone books, all of the phone directories, and would come up with a bunch of George Washingtons. And once you explain to the computer that none of them are the first president of the United States, because that person lived in the 1700s, then the computer would simply request phone directories from the 1700s, not realizing what a ridiculous request that would be. So it's very, very difficult. We make all of these connections, and it's very, very difficult to recreate. So I think that maybe some of these things are a bit farther off than we would like to believe. But anyways, check out that article and also check out some of our upcoming events on Valentine's Day in the morning at Pineland Farms in New Gloucester. We've got getting the most bang for your buck out of your benefits plan, how to have a great benefits, health, dental, 401k, how to have the best benefits plan without blowing up your budget. So Steve Gerlach, a lawyer from an ERISA lawyer from Bernstein Shore in Portland will be our speaker, and of course free breakfast and lots of opportunities to network. We have about 80 RSVPs so far, but the room does hold 90, so we do have a few seats left, and so you will have to register in order to get there. But it is like all of our events; it's free. And of course, for the whole Maine HR compliance series, both live events and also upcoming webinars, definitely just Google Maine HR compliance and you'll find our Eventbrite link, and you'll be able to check them all out there. So anyways, thanks so much, and I'll talk to you next week.